feels like the draft. Draft beat, draft beat, draft beat, draft beat. Draft beat, draft beat, draft beat, draft beat. Draft beat, draft beat, draft beat, draft beat. Draft, draft, draft. Draft beat, draft beat, draft beat, draft beat. Draft beat, draft beat, draft beat, draft beat. Draft beat, draft beat, draft beat, draft beat. It feels like the draft, 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 draft.
Welcome to the Miami Heat Beat podcast. I'm your host, Giancarlo Navas, and with me today, full cast of characters here to break down a really busy news day. Excited to bring you all Miami Heat Beats, brought to you by ROBINHOOD. Shout out to ROBINHOOD, our title sponsor. With me today, Franky G, producer, now Draft Beat, Stream Beat co-founder, all that good stuff. Franky, what's up, my man?
Are you wearing that hat because the dominoes are falling?
I'm wearing this hat because I'm the number one. I'm big face employee of the month. Also joining me
I think
today,
that's Birdie. Sorry.
Listen, I got the hat. I got the merch. I'm spending the money. I'm funding this shit. Also with me today, producer and co-founder Brian Goins.
Why don't you guys tell me my camera was so high?
Oh,
it's been a minute. Help me out.
It's been a while, but it's okay. Way to keep the show moving. Saucy Takes, Coach Lou.
What the fuck is up, guys? What's up?
Everybody's
A news day. We had a Shams bomb.
Big news day, an Ira bomb as well. We'll get into that in a second. And maybe the happiest man in America right now, Alex Musiby.
Isn't it great? What a fun day. I'm so happy. Listen, I have not wanted to be on any show or talk any basketball outside of Tyler Hero because I called it going into this year that this was going to be the return of the year of the drip drop. I knew that. However, I thought it was going to be.
I had to. It was too much. I
saw Moose. I saw Moose at a party earlier this year, and I said, "Hey, man, when are we gonna you gotta come on more shows?" And Moose looked me in the face, took a sip of his drink, and said, "Hell no."
Yeah, no, I have not been feeling it this year, but I have been feeling a tank job coming, and I think we're ready.
So the big news of the day, as Ira Winderman reported, Khalil Ware back with the Heat after being on G League assignment. Lou, I know he's not your favorite guy on the team. I think this is one of the biggest stories in the NBA this week. I think the Heat have had a backup center problem. We saw Kevin Love really struggling to stay on the floor against Cleveland. Thomas Bryant came in and he deputized him valiantly, but I don't think that's a long-term option. I think this Khalil Ware news is absolutely massive for the Heat going forward.
Oh yeah, it's huge. There's also several centers in this 2025 draft class who we might have to start taking a look at here. Who probably do a better job than Khalil himself. I'm not going to get into any names right now because we're going to keep that private to the chest like the Miami Heat did. But sure. Big news. Big news.
It's big. Guys, did anything else notable happen today? I watched the Champions League day, not super plugged into the NBA.
They got Luigi.
I saw they got Luigi. A lot of photos of Luigi. I don't know if you've seen those memes on Twitter. Find Luigi, the little games. Every day we found him. Anything else, guys? Chat says Wade got a statue.
He did?
That's a little old.
Oh, wait, that was the last time I was on the show.
Moose, anything interesting happened today?
Moose is locked in. He's trying to figure it out right now.
He's checking out some draft pick situations.
Oh, the Marlins. We found out what they're picking in the MLB draft. They had the top percentage chance of getting the number one pick. You want to know where they fell?
Where?
7.
Oh, that's okay.
They got what they deserved.
Chat says Jimmy's hair is blue now.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
That was red.
Yeah.
That's how long it's been since I watched the Heat game.
So that's kind of our show, guys. We'll be on again. Franky, when do they play?
Thursday.
Tomorrow.
Thursday.
Oh, that's right.
No, they don't play tomorrow. Thursday. It was just a quick thing to get in for the sponsor. Shout out to ROBINHOOD. And we'll see you next week.
Peace.
Wait,
Bye.
no. I want to talk trades.
What happened?
Terry Rozier getting traded?
Finally,
Pat's
Oh
not
my
asleep at the
God.
wheel?
We
Please.
back?
Oh,
They're
Paul
selling high-
Pierce.
Wait, they're selling high and Tyler. That must be it.
Paul Pierce shit
Okay,
himself?
Moose. Talk. We've had enough fun at your expense. Okay. Obviously today, news broke this morning, which I don't even know how newsy this is, but Miami was reported by Shams to be, quote, listening to offers for Jimmy Butler. I think there's a lot of things that kind of go into a report like that I think are not very. I don't think the report has a lot of bite, but it certainly is a little bit shocking that gets put out there. Frankly, in a week where Miami's playing the best basketball of the season, they have their best win, I believe, in the last 2 years, and this report comes out. I mean, Franky, we'll start with you, and then we'll go around the room. The fact that the Heat are listening to offers on Jimmy, I think is a little shocking, but not too shocking. I think that we known that the relationship has been strained for a little bit. I just don't see them pulling the trigger on that. What was your reaction to today?
Well, I had a real bad night's sleep, and I was late for a therapy session. And then I checked my phone real quick, just like right when I woke up for my session. I checked my phone, and I'm like, I see you guys in the chat blowing it up, and I'm like, what the fuck just happened? And I see the report, and I'm like, my psychiatrist, he needs to hold on. You need to hold on. I got more mental issues right now to discuss and to focus on. No, but I'm not too surprised that it came to some kind of leakage. It seems like it was like we're all assuming it was Bernie and Jimmy's side that leaked this, especially because it is Shams, and Shams usually gets his info from agents. I'm not surprised because Jimmy probably put some pressure on the Heat, trying to see, hey, vibes are great. Why don't you talk about the contract? Again, you guys think about it, just a feeler. And if probably haven't seen enough. He hasn't, he's missed game already. Granted, part of it was injury, but he hasn't proven yet to be worth the max at that level. And according to them, it's probably still difficult behind the scenes and stuff, as he always is. So, putting out some feelers and putting some pressure on the Heat. And not only that, all the teams he mentioned and any team that potentially would be interested in Jimmy would most likely have to include a third team. You need a lot of time to get those deals situated. I was playing with the trade machine today. It is so stupid. It is so stupid. Everybody's cap situation sucks. Or any potential trade is probably not going to make anybody really, really happy.
Yeah, Brian, and I think kind of that's kind of like, well, Boost is going to be happy. Brian, I want to get to Brian here, and we'll I mean, what I asked you to kind of do me a favor and kind of look at a lot of different scenarios. So the report said that the teams, I mean, Jimmy's, he's been linked to the Mavericks. He's been linked to Houston and the Warriors. I think those are three teams that all have incentive to get him and all have different kind of, I think, conditions to acquire him. Brian, which of those three do you think is the most likely given their cap situations and kind of their assets?
So I'm just doing a quick survey of their cap situations for right now. But I mean, obviously right now of those, Golden State, to start the season, they were over the second apron. Now they're below it. Currently they have, just looking at their spending power. So they have biannual TP. So they have a couple ways that they could make a trade match work. Good for them. I think of all of them, Houston probably is the most likeliest. I think Dallas is probably last if I had to rank them. It'd probably go Houston, Golden State, and Dallas. Just ranking them of those three. Taking a quick look at, let's see, which one do you want to start off with first?
Let's start off with what you say is most likely, Houston.
So Houston's cap sheet right now for the 2024-2025 season currently have 14 players under contract, so they're one below the league maximum. So they could technically take in Jimmy without I guess really sending any salary back if they had the cap space, but they don't. Obviously, no team has a cap space. It's just get him outright. But looking at their cap space right now, they are currently with total salaries currently on the roster. Their payroll is 160 million. They luxury tax is 170, so they're below the luxury tax, but they are above the cap space. So in a sense, they're below the first apron. They have room below the first apron as well to make a trade match where they don't. So when we do these trade matches for Miami's purposes, they can't take back more salary in a trade than what they're giving out. So if you're trading away Jimmy Butler and Houston wants to trade match, they can't send out more salary than what Jimmy Butler is currently worth right now. And if we want to take a look at Jimmy Butler's salary for this season, he's currently due to make for this season $48.79 million, and then next season he has that player option for $52.4. So essentially, Miami can't take back 48.7 anything more than 48.8 million dollars in a trade. If they're going to make a trade like that, then there has to be a 3-team deal where another team kind of absorbs any of that additional salary because they're over the first apron. But Houston, vice versa, they can actually send out less than what Miami needs to trade match because they are below not just the first apron, but also below the luxury tax. So they do have some wiggle room to make that work. In a sense, it makes it easier for them to trade match for Jimmy because you're helping Miami save money. And in a way, you can also help Miami maybe even get under the luxury tax if you're, sending out just below, what they need to kind of make that work. So if they're going to be hard capped the first apron for sending out multiple players, Houston, because they don't have a player really making Jimmy Butler's salary to do like a one-on-one trade match. So once you start sending out more than one player, that's where that first apron rule comes in. So I think all that said, Houston has the likeliest advantage in the sense of that their books are pretty clean. Where it gets a little tricky for them, though, I think, is that they have two guys that just signed 2 rookie scale extensions. And kind of like how the Heat were in a situation a couple years ago when they were trying to maybe potentially trade for Kevin Durant. They had Tyler Hero as a potential person that they wanted to use in a trade. He was subject to poison pill provision. And the same sense right now, the Houston Rockets signed 2 rookie extension salaries over the offseason. Both Jalen Green and then, how do you pronounce his first name? Sengun? As his last name. How do you pronounce his first name?
Alperen Sengun.
Okay, so we'll just call him Sengun, whatever.
Excellent work, Brian.
But both of them signed rookie extensions, and I think the one guy that was probably most rumored to be, on the move, and I've seen people kind of mistakenly report this today, so I want to kind of clear this up. But Jalen Green can be traded just because he signed a 3-year, $105.3 million extension with the Rockets in the offseason does not mean he can't be traded. What happened is that because he signed his extension, he's now subject to the poison pill provision restriction. And that doesn't expire until the start of the following offseason on July 1st, 2025. So meaning his average salary for the next 3 seasons, and I can do a quick math on this real quick because I did not do this before the show, but I can just kind of give you a ballpark. He's making $33 million his first year, and then 36 flat for the following 2 seasons after that deal. You divide out by 3, his average salary is $35.11 million. If he gets traded to Miami, say he gets traded in this proposed deal for Jimmy Butler, he goes out as outgoing salary as $35.11 million onto Miami's books. So Miami kind of takes that in. It's not his actual contract he's getting paid a season, but for trade matching purposes, that's his outgoing salary. His outgoing salary for Miami is $35.11 million. His incoming salary or outgoing, I keep saying the wrong word. His incoming salary is $35.11. His outgoing salary is going to be the last year of his rookie deal right now, which he's currently making this season $12.4 million. So if you subtract that 35.11 minus 12.4, you're looking at a difference of $22.71 million in the trade match. That's really hard to make that work. And the Rockets don't have that space right now under the first apron to do that kind of trade match where they could just send him out and another player and then call it a day. So when you try to put together these trade proposals, a guy like Jalen Green, sure, he can be traded, but it's really hard to trade him because Miami doesn't have the space to absorb that kind of salary if you're going to use him as a trade match. Just because the Rockets are below the first apron, Miami isn't, and it's just going to be super difficult to get a guy like him in a trade. Same with Sengun. They have pretty much very similar contracts. So kind of moving on down to the rest of these teams, because I think they're the most intriguing right now. Houston.
Let's stay with Houston for a little bit, Brian, and then we'll kind of go. I think that's how we could do the show today. We'll kind of go through. Let's stick on Houston for a little bit, and then we'll go back to you to explain each team. Moose, I imagine that Houston is the most attractive for you, given you have been a big listen. Let's not front. You've been a blow it up guy for weeks. This is your time.
I wanted Wemby.
You think that this core has run its course. You are thankful for the services of the players here, except for Tyler Hero, who you still want to stay, but that you think that they should just move on and reset. You think that they have hit their ceiling, and you have been wanting a reset because you are sick of being the 8th seed.
Yes. Look, hopefully you guys can hear me. We have been having, I've been having audio difficulties on a day where I am so excited, and there's nothing more that I want to talk about. Because let me tell you something. Before the season started, I had Houston marked as the team that this Jimmy Butler would ultimately decide that's where I should go. One, young, up on the come up. They have a full cupboard of picks, which is what Miami should be valuing right now. Secondly, Houston native, no state income tax. So a lot of things. That's right. My mic forgot how to podcast. But the problem was, and again, I never wanted to trade Jimmy. I wanted to sign him, and I wanted him to actually finish out his career here. But once you made that decision to not extend him, you had to move him, and you had to do it offseason. You wanted to capitalize not only on what you would get in return in terms of, assets for the future and all that, but I'm talking about actual players. Franky talked about it. Now that you're in the middle of the season, you're not going to be able to get the same caliber of player that you were going to be able to get, on draft night or even before the season started. Now you just have to eat it and understand that your goal should be getting back expiring contracts and picks. We need to take a small step back to be able to take a giant leap forward. I am extremely grateful for Jimmy, and I loved this run. I so badly wish he could have gotten a championship and had that moment. But everything runs its course. So did the big three, and now this build has run its course. And you got to leave the table before you go broke, because God knows you're very close to the last bit of your chips.
I don't disagree with what Moose says. He's right in that you can't ride something until the wheels come off, because it's just not adequate team building. Now, Miami's done that in the past and they make it work. I would want to keep Jimmy. I'd probably pay him, even if it's not fiscally responsible for your cap. I would have done different things, and we've kind of litigated all that. I also don't think we can get into that later, but I just don't, I'm still not convinced that they're going to move him. And we're doing this show because I do think that we have a duty to talk about the possibilities of the report. I know that I feel like they're not going to move him. I think that, as we said at the top of the show, I think a lot of this is smoke, and I think that a lot of this is leverage. I do think that he's either going to leave for nothing, or Miami's going to offer him a contract that he'll sign. I'm sure they're going to offer him a deal. Whether he accepts it or not is a different question. There's also a chance that he opts in, and Lou and I have talked about that on other pods recently. But I don't think Moose is wrong, Lou. And I think that if you want to prolong the window where they're competing at this level without even a full-blown tank, I think this is a way to do it. You have Bam, you have Tyler, you have a lot of nice things in Houston that you can kind of get back. I think that if there's a team that this makes sense for, where you can stay competitive with your core and kind of replenish the arsenal, this is the team to do it. It's not really Pat Riley's MO, but
yep.
I think it's in the possibility.
No, and that's exactly the thing. It's going to be something that he haven't done. Like that, I feel like ever, in my opinion, at least since I've been a Heat fan, I can't remember a time that they said it didn't work, and they be realistic, and they just completely pivoted. And I'm on Moose's side here 100%. I do think they should have pivoted in the offseason once that extension wasn't signed. I think the writing was it was as clear as it's ever been. Your time here is up, Jimmy, and our time with you is up. So Where would you like to go? Give us a team, give us 3 teams, and we'll make sure we get you there safe and sound, with whatever works best for us. I think, to like Franky's point too, I think the value is only going to go down from here. Miami is like letting this play out. I think the only thing that's saving them is the teams that are interested in Jimmy are contending right now. So Houston is the 3rd seed. Houston, Dallas, and Golden State are all 3, 4, and 5 in the West right now, and they're all significantly above 500, like at least for this point in the season. So that helps Miami build a market for Jimmy Butler. So in that area, I do think that there is a plus. The downside to, the market for Jimmy is obviously his age, his contract extension, what's he going to look like? How is he going to stay healthy? Can they trust him for X amount of games? Not even like the locker room stuff. I think that's way behind him. Honestly, I think the way that he's handled this whole process from, the end of season interview Pat Riley gave after last season till now, I think Jimmy's literally done everything in his power to save face and save his like media image. So I give him huge props. And again, this is nothing for Jimmy, but like the Miami Heat's pick situation is just so poor. Their cap situation is just so poor. They're already a second apron team next year. If their roster stays completely as is, they're probably not going to have a 1st round pick if they make the playoffs. That pick gets moved to OKC. Then the 27 pick gets moved as well. Like that's already 2 picks that they're without. The Terry deal was a disaster. Like they've done a lot of things that have consequentially got them to this point. This is your chance to almost reset that. Take a look at what you have. Build off of these young guys. Whether it's the right decision or the wrong decision, only time will tell how good they will be. But ultimately, financially, and just from a team building perspective, like we say, like the Jimmy era has run its course. The next era has to be the Bam era. And if you think it's the Bam era, you're doing him a disservise every second. Jimmy Butler is. No, fuck that shit. We're not.
It's funny. Drew and Bam are the same age, so it's the same era. Go ahead,
all right. It's
Moose,
the same era.
Moose wanted to say something.
That's awful.
Yeah.
I just want to get in here really quickly. Part of the reason why I'm so adamant about we have to do this now, besides the fact that like we've already reached this point where things are being leaked and all that, but I'm saying going into the season was there is something to be said about being opportunistically bad. And what I mean about that is like the San Antonio Spurs were opportunistically bad in the right year to get Victor Wembanyama. This is the year to be opportunistically bad. You know why? Because there is so much talent in the lottery. This is going to be the equivalent of like a
so bad.
I understand.
If they
but
trade
let me
Jimmy,
finish my point. Gee, God damn it! Let me finish. So the point is, you just got to get into the lottery, okay? Unlike other years where the talent drop off from the 1st pick to the 2nd pick to the 3rd pick. That's not going to be like that this year. If you get in the lottery, you have a chance to get an all-pro player 1 through 14. Next year, if you wait and try and be bad next year, there's 2 guys, maybe 3 if someone comes out and we get lucky. And that's it. The drop-off is significant. This is the year to be bad.
And to Moose's point, you're a year older into Bam's timeline. A year further behind the process, and Tyler's contract's already close to would be 1 or 2 years away from expiring. So you have to make a decision on extending him after the next season as well. So and you still don't know
what you're
anything
clearly
about
gonna do.
Yeah, but you still don't know anything about these young guys as well. Moving Jimmy now gives all the young guys more responsibility, more opportunity, so you can just frankly see what you have and give them an opportunity to grow or fail.
Counterpoint to that real quick.
Go ahead.
The Marlins just tried tanking for this year, and they got the 7th overall pick. So what makes it likely that Miami could tank, or the Heat, for that matter, could tank and get a top pick or top 3, whatever pick it is now in this draft?
Look at the 2 franchises and their draft record.
Counterpoint.
That's not even a fair comparison.
They're not going to tank.
The fuck out of
That's the one thing. They're just you know, and as chat said, Chino and chat.
They'll
said
be a
neither are
lottery
known for
team.
that.
Say they're a lottery team. They're like 10th, 12th,
I don't think they're
13th
going to
best
be a lottery.
odds.
Brian, I got
Is that really that much different than them get picking at 15 again?
Unless
if
you
They're not. It's
suck
like they're
at
not
10
going
or
to pick
12
at 15.
versus 15.
It was a significant difference this year, and it will be just as more significant in the next upcoming draft.
Was it? I mean, they could have picked Jeremy Kane still. They just passed on him.
Or they could have taken Devin Carter and flown him off the board. But
I'm going to read to you.
He's out for the year.
8.
And he would have helped the tank.
plan.
Come on, Brian, get with the fucking program.
Ware's out for the year too at this pace.
I'm going to read the current lottery seeds for the East.
I don't know if I like this
Called
plan.
that.
guys.
Brooklyn, Indiana, Chicago, Detroit, Philly, Charlotte. Philly probably gets right and gets out of there. I imagine. I hope not, but I imagine.
Detroit's going to get out of there. I'm telling you, Detroit's not bad. I'm watching Jaden Ivey. Detroit is a good team. They will be making a run for the play-in.
Miami, even without Jimmy, I think that unless you shut Bam and Tyler down, I think they're better than Brooklyn. I think Indiana's really, really struggled. Chicago's really, really struggled. And I think shutting Tyler, they're not going to shut Tyler down.
No.
And do you think Portland thought that they were going to bolt? Do you think Portland thought they were going to bolt up in the draft to the number 2 pick? You never know.
I just don't think.
Yeah,
I just think
that's
the
what I
East is
thought. That's what I
so
thought.
bad.
Comparing apples versus oranges.
Yeah, I think that they're too okay to be that bad, even without Jimmy. And I think that they have too many guys.
Lottery.
They still blew the pick on.
No, I know.
Steele.
I just don't. I mean, it's just
But
be difficult.
I do agree, G, but it's not just getting into the lottery that we're like being so pound the table.
No, that
for.
was the only thing I was kind of pushing
It's
back
the
on.
Jimmy. It's the Bam. If this is gonna be the Bam build, we need to play all these young guys now and figure out who the fuck it is
I gotta
that we
be
want
honest with you,
to see
there's
with
no-
this Bam build.
There's no such
Every
thing as a-
ounce of Jimmy brings
there's
us
no
one
such thing
step
as a Bam
closer.
build. There's no such thing as a Bam.
I'm kinda with you on
If
that
that's the case, then there needs to be a conversation had about that. But
And
this
that's
is
why you
not.
need to get a top 5 pick.
That I disagree with. I mean, he is the cornerstone of their defense, and he's just like, he's never going to be the offensive hub for a really good team. He needs a guy who's better than
Totally
him on
agree.
offense, and he has to be
Absolutely.
your third option on offense to be like really, really elite. I think they can get away with it sometimes if he's like your number 2
G.
guy.
100% agree with you. We all agree with you.
Yes.
How do they
Yes.
get that number 1 guy?
No, and
they've
that's
missed on that number 1 guy because they haven't had enough for years.
No, I
for
agree.
years. You're waiting more. The longer you wait, the older Bam gets. He's already 27. He's locked in, yes, but he could ask out as well, and then you lose all your leverage for him. And that's your cornerstone. You have to start pivoting at some point. You wait too long, you can get something out of Jimmy. You can retool real quick.
I
too.
agree with you. I 100% agree with you. My other thing I was gonna say was like the Rozier deal was really the thing that cemented that really was the final nail in the coffin, Brian, of them getting better. That was their ticket to getting better. They wasted that expiring contract. That draft pick is down the toilet, and they absolutely
You gotta recoup it.
torpedoed any chance they had of getting better, whether that be through the draft, whether that be moving that pick, whether that be having that deal expire and doing something with the wiggle room that they were afforded. It was, I think, frankly, the worst trade in the history of the franchise because it locked them into a team that, I want to be honest with you, I think this team is better than it was last year. I think this team, if they don't do anything, they're gonna compete for a home seed in the playoffs. And I gotta be honest with you. If they fucking play Cleveland in round 2, I don't know. Can they beat Boston? Unlikely. I think that matchup's kind of bad for them right now with the way that Boston shoots the ball and moves the ball. But New York, I wipe my ass with them. Cleveland, they don't fucking scare me. Milwaukee, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, and if I'm the
and
Heat,
you're doing the same thing.
and that's what
Pat
I'm saying.
Riley's doing.
And if you're the Heat, that's what you're thinking. And Dan Le Batard said today, he doesn't think that they're going to move Jimmy unless they get a 1A guy back.
They're probably I think to your point, I agree with you. I think they're probably looking for a deal that's similar to what the Spurs did when they moved Kawhi Leonard.
Put it back up. No. Put it back up, Frankie. Put it back up.
Kawhi was 26.
No, and listen,
Yeah,
I
but they
agree
got
with
back
Shaq.
a guy that's like DeMar
That's what I'm
DeRozan
talking
and Jacob
about right
Poeltl.
there.
No, I agree.
Okay,
Listen,
so the guys available, are you doing this for Brandon Ingram? Like that's the best you're gonna get.
Honestly,
No,
they might.
I could see that,
That
but
is ridiculous.
only Siobhan is happy.
That is so
I mean, like
ridiculous.
a guy in that
Serious.
tier, like a guy that's a former All-Star,
fine.
or like that's probably what they're looking for.
You're
if
just
they're gonna
treading
move Jimmy
water.
Butler.
You're just treading
They don't
water.
want
You're doing-
picks.
It's the same pig. You just changed the fucking makeup on it.
Chat saying De'Aaron Fox. Why the fuck would Sacramento?
Why are we putting more
be
lipstick on
betting
this
against
pig?
him? Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
No, hold on. You
guys
guys
don't-
are right.
Listen,
Hold on, Moose. I agree with you. I agree with what you're saying. Like, I think that you are right. Like, this is like, I don't think that this team is good enough to win a title. I think that they're stuck. They have really hit a dead end in the maze, and there's nothing that they
what
can
did that
do
guy say? What? Put it back up.
to improve the team.
We got chat
I'm
says,
retiring.
if they trade Jimmy
What-
for fucking
wait,
Brandon Ingram,
retiring
I'm
from
retiring.
what? From being like a
honestly, I
Heat
feel
fan?
that way too.
I think Tiff said if they trade for Jalen Green, she's retiring from being a Heat fan. And frankly, I agree.
And
But
you know
let-
what? That's fine. I get that. My point is, and I'm sorry to cut you off, G, but it's just like it's driving me crazy. I feel like I would have hated you in 2002. Like I want to lose to get Dwayne Wade, and you're like, no, let's win the fucking 7th
Moose,
seed.
I'm not
Like,
saying
the
that not
only
to tank.
way
That's not
to
what I'm
get
saying.
better is to get a 1A guy. And how do you get a 1A guy? Unless you get extremely lucky like we did with the decision, you have to draft and develop. And the only way to do that is to be bad for 1 fucking year. That's it.
I'll retort. They've just really not been bad a lot. And the one time they were bad, they didn't get better. They got Michael fucking Beasley. And every other year that they got good, they did it without getting bad. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Although I will agree with you, they are all capped out. They don't have anything to move. And I got to be honest with you, I understand the appetite for just shuffling the deck, getting young pieces in here, and moving on because this build is just. They have too many guys that are one-way guys. Either this guy can defend, but he can't score. Either this guy can score and he can't defend. This guy can score, but he can't shoot. This guy can shoot, but he can't dribble. And they've just kind of been locked in this wheel, in this kind of fucking hamster wheel of whatever that's been going on. And my girlfriend asked me today, she's like, why do they want to trade Jimmy?
What?
We get it,
And,
bro. You have a girlfriend. You have
yeah,
to bring it up
okay,
every
whatever.
show.
And I'm
God.
explaining the situation, and she's like, well, what do they expect to happen every playoffs? And I go, they kind of expect Jimmy to be Jordan. And that's just not, it's just not a way to win. It's just not. So I agree with everything that you guys are saying.
Tyler Hero's been pretty good. I don't know.
I just think that the organization does not
Badly,
operate
I'm
the
rooting
way that you guys want.
Can we just get like semi like wave from like Hero for like a series against Boston, and then like Jimmy can be like, I don't know,
Hold on,
Scottie
bro.
Pippen?
Van Lee in chat says Giancarlo's so annoying with the Rozier deal. Shut up. Motherfucker, Rozier's annoying. I'm sick of him.
G Band's playing basketball to his GF every day.
Let's explain to her what a fucking Spain pick and roll is every day. You know, just so that she knows. I was
My
just
girlfriend.
telling a
Just
story.
listen to it. I know.
This guy's cooking you, bro.
Nobody's happy for me.
His girlfriend. His girlfriend.
I still haven't met her,
Um,
by the way.
Nobody's
But I see
happy.
Lane, yeah, she is.
No.
Nobody's happy.
Well, let's talk about Houston for a second, because we this was a discussion today for the potential, just hypothetical. This is Lou's favorite teams for the package.
100%.
They have the most to offer, definitely
Mhm.
picks wise. They own other teams' picks, which I think is really valuable when you're trading. I don't know how much you could get out of these guys because they're really difficult to trade with as it is. But Lou, talk about a couple of the young guys that you like that you think potentially could be on the table.
All right. So
Don't
potentially,
embarrass us.
yeah,
Don't
it's not
embarrass
going to be. I have to say it because everybody, like, I've already seen it on Twitter. I don't think we're going to get a Men Thompson. If that's even remotely on the table,
Is he the guy you
Yes.
want the most?
yeah, absolutely. It shouldn't even be
Me and Moose almost kicked him out of the chat for fucking saying
Yeah.
It's like,
suggested that.
don't
But-
want you representing us
but-
tonight.
But I mean, their roster is still filled with other guys who can contribute or at least have some ounce of potential that you can get out of them, considering their rookie scale contracts. Like Reed Shepard is a guy they took 3rd overall. He's a smaller guy. I don't know how he works next to Tyler, but he also hasn't gotten much rotation minutes this year, mostly because of like the guards in front of him and stuff
you
like that.
trade
But
Jimmy for a dude that can't get on the court?
you're missing the entire point. We're getting a guy on a
Division.
rookie scale
He sees the
contract.
vision.
Hold on. Let's reevaluate. First of all, we're trading Jimmy because he wants. It seems like he wants
What-
out. We're doing right by him. We're not fucking Joe Cronin. We can't criticize Joe Cronin and then not do right by Jimmy. If Jimmy
then-
wants it, we take the best offer.
Yeah,
He
we
gets
take
his-
the best.
We can't settle, man.
I agree.
I mean,
Franky,
I'm
right
just
here,
saying,
bro.
like Reed Shepard, he hasn't gotten much minutes, but if you saw him at Kentucky, if you saw him at any point, he was dynamic. He was the best shooter in like college basketball history, damn near. And you know that plays in Eric Spoelstra's system. He's very athletic and he plays defense at a decent above. Like he's a pretty good defender, at least off ball for the most part. You also
He's a
have
leche.
Cam. Yeah, he's a leche. You have Cam Whitmore, who would automatically be the best athlete on the Miami Heat. You know, it's younger guys, 18, 19, 19 and 20-year-olds. You know, hopefully you can get Tari Eason. That's probably somebody that's going to be harder to get off of. But
Thank
like,
you, my burner.
you know,
I hate this package so much.
it's not. It's
G,
not.
you're
a
not gonna like
package.
any.
You're not
package.
gonna
It's-
like any package.
You're trading
Exactly.
a 35-year-old Jimmy with injury history, locker room history, who's expiring, who might opt out anyways. Like this is not going to be a.
Kind of
fucking-
with Jimmy.
waited-
G,
I
I
rather
have-
have
too long.
I have a question
35-year-old
for you.
without
too
Jimmy.
long.
I have a question for you, G.
Yes, sir.
If right now Damian Lillard was to become available, what would you give up for him? I guarantee you, and before you answer, I guarantee you it is nowhere near the same package we were going to send out 2 years ago because he's 2 years older, he's 34, and his contract doesn't look so nice like it did 2-3 years ago.
I'd probably give the
Ooh.
same stuff, except I wouldn't
Ooh.
give Tyler anymore because I think
So that's the headliner of
that's
the
more to
deal.
do with Tyler.
I disagree. But
Can we
I'm
talk
just
about
saying,
that, by the way? MVP Tyler?
I'm just saying, like, these are the young players that are on this team that you're probably going to get back. Like they're all athletic, they're all two-way guys for the most part. They have a ton of upside in some cases more than other, but like these guys, along with an expiring, maybe 1 or 2 picks, they have some Brooklyn picks in there too. Like you can swing something here to help you propel whatever fucking build you want forward. Just let Spoelstra work with some of these guys and see what works. Because ultimately,
It sounds like you want to build that Denver Nuggets team with like Gallinari and shit.
And guess
A
what?
bunch of good guys, nobody great.
and guess
really
what? That team
athletic,
needed to
fun to
draft a
watch.
fucking superstar. Now, hence they did it in the second round. Congratulations. It won every fucking 55 second rounds. You get to get a superstar like that. But still, G, like you need these complementary pieces are what helps you get to the top.
I gotta be honest with you. That's fine. I just think that the things that you guys want are just not within the scope of what the organization wants to do or will do.
Or really values.
I
Oh, no,
don't
I
disagree with
agree.
you.
If
I don't
this is
disagree
like,
with
are the
you.
Heat trading Jimmy Butler? No, we're doing a pod of what the possibilities are. Are the Heat trading Jimmy Butler? Come on, guys. Jimmy
I think
Butler's
we're
gonna
all
be here.
leaning
I think
to
we
no.
all agree.
Like
I
We
think
all
Jimmy's
think that
staying.
he's not getting moved, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Exactly.
he's staying.
He's totally leaving the offseason for nothing.
No.
I
G,
think
we,
he gets traded in the
100%.
offseason.
G,
I think he opts in and gets traded. Is my well, we can get into that later.
That's Brian's.
G, you, me, and Lou literally did a podcast after Jimmy non-extension news came out, and me and Lou were yelling at you because it was stupid to not trade him because we were going to come to this point. We're 20 games in. They're on a 3-game winning streak, and we're at this point already. This is because they waited. This was inevitable. And you're not gonna like it. I don't like it. I was excited about the news, looking at the prospects. There's not much you're gonna get just because of Jimmy, just because of his age, the situation. And if Jimmy wants out, you do right by him.
If Jimmy wants out, that changes everything.
Yes.
If Jimmy wants out,
And-
you say, where do you want to go? And you
Exactly.
figure it out.
and that's all we're
Yes.
doing.
And I gotta be honest with you,
Yes.
I think just getting off his money and getting something is just like a huge win.
That's what we're getting at.
my
That's what we're getting at. You keep interrupting
Wait a
us.
second, wait a second. Moose,
You
I've
keep
never
hating on these young
disagreed-
guys.
I've never disagreed that it's good. I've never said I agree with you. I've said many times I agree with you.
G said we're getting a guy who hasn't played a single minute.
G's
What are
dad
you
got
doing?
personally served coffee from Jimmy Butler. I feel like he's a little biased here.
I'm big face.
I just wanna-
But you
I
know
just wanna
what?
jump off
I think
really-
I'm with you, G.
Oh no!
All
Don't do
right.
this.
I've got too
This is
much
why
power.
we don't. This is
I've
yeah.
got
This
too
is why
much-
we don't- Let's go. This is right.
It feels like the
This is
draft.
We've been saying all year what needs to happen, and look where we are. But I just want to really quickly to touch on Franky's point because because I agree. I'm not trading Jimmy to the worst possible place for the best draft pick. Like,
yeah, we're not
as
sending
much
him
as
to
I would love-
Milwaukee.
as much as I would love that, but no, like I fully intend to do right by him. If he wants Houston, I send him to Houston. If he wants Golden State, I try and find a way to get him there. Now, with that being said, and forgive me if you guys talked about this and maybe I was out, you're going to need a third team in any Jimmy Butler trade. So it's going to take some time and it's going to take some work, which is why they are leaking this now, because it's going to take time to kind of like, you know, get the wheels in motion and get a third team and yada, yada, yada.
Sure.
But my point is, yes,
2 months to the
I
trade
want to
deadline.
trade Jimmy, but I'm not trying to do wrong by Jimmy. I'm trying to like honestly have a clean break for both sides.
Yep. I have one more thing to the point of like the whole thing of, oh, he's probably going to get signed and traded somewhere else. That does nothing for you as a franchise. I want to bring everybody to this realization right now. If Jimmy finishes the season as a Heat, opts into his $53 million, 52.9, let's be technical, that he's due next year, you are then
4 actually.
Oh, 0.4. I'm sorry. There you go. That's what we got, Brian. But if he opts into his $52.4 million next year and he requests a trade out, then you are doing the same thing you are doing now, 1 year later, and now you are moving an expiring contract that's coming off your books. Most likely not 50. You're not going to get the same amount of money back in expirings. So you got to be even more picky, have less leverage with the players you're bringing back. And it's just going to be, again, it's not the most optimal thing to do if you're not just focused on what's right in front of you. If you can fucking just peel that a little bit back and see 2, 3, 4 years down the line, it shouldn't be fucking rocket science is what I'm trying to get at.
I have a question for Brian.
Yeah.
What's the best that Miami can offer him without hitting the second apron?
Ooh, that's a good question. Let me see if I could try to do this on the spot. So right now, Miami currently has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players 11 players under contract for next season. So they got to sign at least 3 more. Let's say they're just minimum exception guys. What is the minimum exception for next year? I'll kind of just carry over what it is right now. It's going to be a little bit more than that, but it's kind of, we don't have projections yet for those, I don't think, at the moment. If I do, I have to look for it. We'll just carry that over. So we're looking at not too bad, guys, actually. I think because the luxury tax space is going to increase by quite a bit next season. They're because now it's next year is the first year of that new TV deal. So they're now going to be going up, I think, by, I can't remember exact percentages, at 5 or 10%, one of those 2 percentage models. And each season, basically, like 5 years, it's going to be going up quite a bit. So, like, for instance, this year's luxury tax level is 170.8. Next year's projected luxury tax level is 187.8. And Bam's extension, which he signed last year, still doesn't kick in till the following season after next offseason. So, meaning 2026, 2027, his salary jumps from $37 million to $51.1 million, which happens to also be the last year if Jimmy's, playing out that one last year on his opted-in contract. If he ends up staying.
What I want to know is just like,
if he's gone or if he's staying, what's the question?
What's the best they can offer him? Let's say he opts out and they're going to offer him a deal. What's the best they can offer him without getting into the second apron? Because I imagine they're not going to not offer him a deal. And I imagine what they're going to offer him is something like 2 or 3 years at a figure closer to, I imagine they'd want to a figure that doesn't put them in the second apron. That's what I imagine that they'll offer. That's the most I imagine they'll offer him.
Okay, so
I kind of want to know what that number is.
That's a better phrase of the question, I think. In that case, I have to find this tweet I had posted, but I already done the math of what the extension, what a new contract would have looked like. Just trying to find it real quick. I probably should have had this saved.
So it's just to fill in some space for Brian. The second apron this year, while he looks it up, the second apron this year is 188.9 million.
Right.
We are currently at 187.1 for this year. Yeah. Next year, with the 11 players under contract, everybody coming back exactly the same, Jimmy coming back at 52.4, we are at 191.9 mil. So that technically the second apron would need to go up by more than $3 million for us to even, for Jimmy's contract to even be feasible now. And that's not even counting if we can fill out the rest of the roster. We would only have 11 guys under contract, Jimmy with the same amount of money, and we would most likely already be in the second apron or unable to fulfill the rest of the roster as currently.
second apron projection for next season is going to be 207.8 million. So it's going to go up quite a bit. Miami's second apron space for next season, for what I'm looking at right now, could be somewhere around $20 million. So they'll be well enough under the second apron if they just sign basically 3 minimum contract players. Meaning they could use a mid-level exception and still be under. Just currently looking still for the tweet I'm trying to find, and Twitter fucking fucked their. Sorry, but they really did fuck their whole like search thing because
yeah, the Twitter search thing is not usable.
It's awful.
It ruined it. That motherfucker ruined this app. It drives me crazy how it's not even usable. I can't search my own fucking tweets. It's so absurd. I hate that guy.
Thank you, G.
100% agree.
Where's Luigi?
G has more passion for that than he does this entire trade market.
Yeah, bro. We're starting a revolution.
Oh man. All right. So let's get into we talked about Houston briefly. Nick Barron from Blue Sky recommend
I found it. Sorry, but you can go.
Never mind, Franky.
Professional podcaster here. Dylan Brooks, which I think is a good. It's kind of for cap space. You can flip him for an expiring and something else. Steven Adams, Reed Shepard, and Cam Whitmore. That gets the salary done. I also tested it, and that's with. You can also include Kevin Love. I think Kevin it fits into a lot of these trades. To be packaged with Jimmy. You ask Kevin, he's a minimum, so you ask him if he wants to go or not. He's a great locker room. I'm not opposed to having him here. I also tested it without Kevin. You can switch Brooks and put Jayshawn Tate and Jeff Green just for salary cap. If you include, I think the Detroit Pistons have cap space, so they can just absorb contracts. There's a bunch of teams that have trade exceptions that they can absorb some contracts. The Nets are the big team that has the most expirings in the league, so they're one of the teams that a lot of people are talking about for 3-team deals.
Yeah.
So deals like that, I think, make some sense. Shepard's the reason we've been discussing all day about Houston, their whole core is under 30. Besides Fred VanVleet, he's 30 on the dot. I don't see why they do this. I see if they can. They want to go for it. They didn't even make the playoffs last year. I don't see why they do this. They have the best package. We all agree with that. They have the most young players, most picks, but I don't see why they go this far in. I think this is a leverage play for them, just to include some teams. He wouldn't mind going there, but I don't really see Houston being interested, in my opinion.
I think otherwise. I think their owner really wants to compete. I mean, look, they went after it when they had Arden a few times, and then they finally started rebuilding. So I think they want to get back to that Western Conference Finals, even if it doesn't get them to the finals immediately. I think they want to at least put themselves in that picture, and it's pretty open. Like the NBA right now, especially in the Western Conference, there's a lot of parity in the league. They could do it if they add Jimmy Butler and he becomes playoff Jimmy for them. Yeah. And they have the role players for the most part to make it work.
I was gonna say I'm kind of with Goins in that the interest on both sides there is legit because it's been something that we've been hearing for a while. And I also think the fact that Houston has been playing, fantastic to start off the year definitely plays into their favor. Now, do I think he ultimately ends up there? No. I think, honestly, if he were to go to any Texas team, I think the one he wants is the Mavericks for obvious reasons. But I don't think that Houston is a flat-out no. I do think that there is genuine interest there on both sides.
Okay. Well, let's kind of hop over to the Warriors because we've gone on for a bit, and I do want to.
I want to answer your questions first, G.
Okay.
The question you asked me is, can Miami stay under the second apron with an extension for Jimmy Butler? Basically, that's what you're asking. Because if he opts in, it's $52.4 million. If he re-signs with Miami, because they have his full bird rights, they could re-sign Butler up to a 4-year contract in his age 36 season. He'll turn 36 by the start of the 2025-26 season on October 1st, 2025, without triggering the over 38 rule, which would add essentially another 3 years of new money. That deal would basically equate to a max deal over 4 years at $243 million. His first year net salary would jump from $52.41 million, which he currently has his player option for next season that he would be opting out of. It would basically jump from that to $54.28 million. So you're talking about, just over $2 million in change to to basically have him back, but at a max salary, which would be 35% of the salary cap. If you're looking at that, and I'm just going to plug those numbers in real quick. So 54.285 essentially gets Miami still within, and this is with 14 players on the roster. So the team that would be on here is Jimmy Butler at 54.2. Your next highest contract's Bam Adebayo at 37 million. Then you got Tyler Hero's 31 million. Plus you also have his 2.5 and unlikely incentives that count towards the first and second apron projections. Terry Rozier is at 19 point. Actually, no, this is incorrect. I forgot I had changed that. I was playing around with this recently because I wanted to see what Terry Rozier could get you if we traded him for Colin Sexton. And I had some fun with that.
Wouldn't that be a nice
because
world?
Miami would save quite a bit. So actually, I said 20 million earlier. It's actually a little bit more than that. But they're still under the second apron. Their apron space, if Jimmy Butler signs that 54.28 contract, which is basically a 4-year deal. This is not an extension. This is just a new deal because an extension would just add 1 year to his contract that he has until June 30th this year to sign it. If he opts out, he's basically a free agent, but Miami can sign him to a 4-year contract because they have his bird rights and it still fits under the over 38 rule. That's what I was mentioning earlier. So yeah, 54.28 million, his contract. Still keep all the rest of the guys on the team. Because you still have Haywood under contract. Duncan's still has that contract where he has an early termination option clause, but say he just accepts it for 19.8. He's on expiring for that amount. Your next higher salary and then is Khalil Ware down to Kevin Love, who still has that 2nd-year option on his contract. Jaime, you got Jovic's last year on his rookie contract. He's up for an extension, but that won't count towards the second apron levels for next season. And then you have a bunch of minimums basically in Pelly Larson's rookie minimum contract. You're looking at $11 million basically in second apron space still. And you might also be able to squeeze under the first apron potentially. It's actually not terrible because that new TV contract deal, it's actually helping Miami out. It's the following season. If they keep Jimmy at that crazy salary, so if I basically put in that 58 million and then Bam's contract jumps from 37 million to 51, that's when it becomes a lot more trickier. But that also, in a way, also can be good for Miami because that's the year that Rozier's contract also expires. So his $26.6 million comes off the books. Duncan's 19.8 million comes off the books. Haywood's salary comes off the books. There's a lot of salary that can come off the books in 2026, 2027. If you even just give Jimmy like a 1-year extension, that's at 58 for that 2nd year, Miami could still be looking at the apron's going to be, wow, that's crazy. The second apron would jump from 207 million to 228 million. So like you're talking like these contracts end up becoming crazy, crazy expensive the more you increase the salary cap. But Miami could have 66 million salary cap space, but you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players under contract. You still got to fill out another, 9 out of the 6 because you're adding 4. That's 15 minimum. No, 8 contracts still because 14 is a minimum. 15 is the maximum. So 9 would be the most you could add. But
oh my God, get to the point.
That's a lot. No, I'm just saying, like, if you still keep Jimmy Butler because of the new TV contracts, I don't think Miami is really going to be faced with the second apron question because they actually have some good contracts on their books with Bam's contract going up in a year where Terry comes off.
Are we doing the trade or not?
I think Miami can keep Jimmy.
Boo! Take him out.
Okay.
Run it back, but older.
Woo! I wanted.
Gee, wake up.
All right, so
Oh my
Dallas
God.
Mavericks, Golden State Warriors. We never got to talk about them.
What about them?
They can do a straight up trade.
What day is it?
This is the most realistic trade, in my opinion. The partner, you have Andrew Wiggins has to be involved. You have the Anthony Melton's expiring, who's injured, so he's not going to play. You have Jonathan Kuminga, who's expiring. He's due for an extension. But that's a contract you can either play it out or you can flip him. That's a guy you might be able to get some picks for. And that's Moose. That's your favorite thing, picks, right? And then
I bring picks in.
I agree with Cal at you. How are we only getting to the second team? This has been what a disaster of a show. Just incredibly inefficient.
I feel like we should just run it back again in the spirit of the Miami Heat. Run it back.
We just want to do a part 2 of this later.
Jeez. I'm like, let's talk about the fucking teams, guys. We have.
I can break down the 2027, 2028.
No more.
offseason if
No,
you want.
you
We'll do that in another pod. Let's
You
talk about what
done-
was.
Who wants to know how much that second apron's going to be? Find out next on Dragon Ball Z.
Sir, you have done enough.
Jimmy will be traded by the time we finish this goddamn pod.
That'll be the best news. Then we got to make another one.
Oh my god.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'm going to Locked On. Fuck
How old
this.
is Jimmy Butler going to be in the 2028, 2029 season?
I
Too
don't want you to
Old,
do any more
old as
math.
fuck.
No
What
more
do you
Would
mean?
be opposed to
I don't
paying
wanna
him
hear
Somehow
any
younger than
more
Bruce
math.
Smith,
$3 million?
more math.
$67.3 million for however old Jimmy is in 2028,
I thought he
2029.
meant
Is that a lot?
67 years old. I believed it.
40 years of age. Jimmy
But what if
Butler.
it becomes Michael Jordan again?
It doesn't matter. Give me the picks.
That's been the Heat's building plan for like the last 3 years. What if we get healthy? What if?
I feel
What
like that's just
if
do like 1 year
these
deals like what the
undrafted
Lakers are
guys-
doing with LeBron. I feel like that
Brian,
makes the most
I
sense.
want a very brief. Now, I want this to be like your, 5 sentences max.
Uh-huh.
A haiku.
Exactly.
I'm muting everybody else because I'm no more interruptions.
I need a quick breakdown of the Warriors cap situation. And I mean quick.
30 seconds.
Warriors
Yes.
are over the luxury tax. 1. 2 are $533,000 away from being over the first apron. They're already hard capped because they used the mid-level and the sign and trade exception this offseason. 2. If they make a trade for Jimmy Butler, they have contracts, but if they want to keep Curry and Draymond Green, the only contracts that make sense for them to trade would be Andrew Wiggins at $26.2 million and DeAnthony Melton's $12.8. They need to trade match at least it's pretty bad. $48.798 million. They're over the first apron. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty tough for them.
Why are you talking so slow?
I think it's not likely that they can make this trade happen without their team.
It would appear that the Warriors are out of it. Once they get a third team.
Like we said, everything's going to be with the third team because most likely we're going to send some contracts to a third team. They're going to have to waive some, eat some contracts, and we'll send them a pick for thank you for your service.
Chat just goes, please stop.
Jeez. Oh my God. All right.
That might be one of the funniest comments. Just so Brian explaining stuff. This guy's like, please stop.
You're getting cooked by Drew Smith in the comments, bro.
Brian, that was some of your words. I gotta be honest, Brian. The information has been good. Your delivery,
Awful. Terrible.
not it.
The worst.
Just not it today.
Don't convince me this isn't happening. Thank you, Brian.
We all believed this going in, and we still weren't allowed to talk about it.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Chat loves you, but they also hate you. What a real Dion performance from you.
He's finally talking fast when he's muted.
So like I miss Woj on ESPN because like his reports used to be really good, and Shams like he mumbles a lot, and I feel like I'm just like him.
It's
Yeah, you're
inspiring.
just like Shams. You're just like Shams.
Chad is saying Pod is as efficient as our early season offense.
I gotta be honest with you, I agree with chat. Today was a big game pod, and I gotta be honest, I don't think Brian and I showed up today. I think Moose,
My
Frankie,
mic
and
didn't
Lou,
go up.
Drafty.
My
yeah,
mic
no,
didn't
you
show up.
actually never mind. Frankie and Lou really showed up today. Brian, Moose, and Moose's mic and I, just atrocious performance today. Absolutely atrocious.
I feel like we missed the most important news segment from today.
Khalil where?
No. Barry Jackson actually reported something sort of on
Yes,
Twitter.
Barry Jackson did report something today, and I actually have it up. Barry said he tweeted today, well, there was more to it with regard to what happened. It was an off-the-record remark to a few of us there. But that's generally Jimmy handled himself well. He followed up with Jimmy likes to troll and said something off the record and suggested he was aware of the trade report. While neither Ira nor I will repeat the comment because it was not intended for quoting, it did not indicate a desire to play elsewhere. I will say this, not that this matters.
I knew.
It was
My
rather
dad and my sister
innocuous.
talked to Jimmy today because he was working at Big Face Coffee and they just so happened to go get coffee today. And Jimmy was just talking about how much he loves the city and how much it meant to him to open a coffee shop here. Whatever that means, I don't know. I just don't think he's going to leave. I think they're just going to get to a salary.
You know how we got Jimmy? Because Dwayne left. Send Jimmy to Dallas so we can get Luka.
Chat's like, what
That's-
about your... Why can't Chat be happy to me? Chat's like, oh, now G got a dad and a sister and a girlfriend. Okay. The fuck, guys?
God.
I can't
and none of
win
them
with
are
you guys.
real. Not one
I
of them
can't
are
win.
real.
It used to be you guys used to say that I was gonna marry a body pillow, and then now I have, I love my family and I have a loving girlfriend, and I can't catch a break.
Did you really go to Japan?
I did go to Japan. I had a great time.
You sure that wasn't AI?
He kept fucking posting koi fish.
Yeah, Alf kept getting mad at me because I kept posting pictures of sushi. And
You know, there were days I wanted to text you, but it was like whatever 3 p.m. here, and I was like, oh, it's probably like 5 a.m. in Japan. I probably shouldn't text you right now.
I was awake.
I never did.
I was awake in
Man,
Shinjuku.
I loved your Japan pictures. They were fucking hilarious. It was like the hardest laugh of my day.
Yeah, you guys all made fun of me. I can't have nice things. Chat. I have does Chat allege that I have JD Vance eyes?
No, you know what? Your eyebrows
I-
look on point today, actually.
Thank you, but I don't think
You
I
kind of
have-
look
Alright.
like the boom guys.
I
the
have.
Costco
I
guys.
know.
Too
Kale,
easy.
do you want a job as a producer? He's like, hey, man, let's get
Costco
through
guys.
this.
All right, Dallas.
Cracker Jack job.
Dallas, they have no offer. Like
No?
essentially, I mean, I guess that's the worst offer. They have basically no expirings that we can take back. Like they're gonna need a bunch of like salary trade fillers, whether it's Clay or Gafford or Kleber. Like it's gonna be 3-4 guys basically, all with multi-year contracts. I think that is the unlikeliest of scenarios. I actually don't think it's even in the top 3 of likely scenarios. I think there's probably another sleeper team that is more likely than the Dallas Mavericks are. So I just think they were thrown in there just to be thrown in there. If I'm like, just from my personal opinion, that's the way I
That
feel.
gets a big doom.
This
Think
fucking
about-
joke.
You didn't even say it right. You didn't even say it right.
I don't know.
You can't flex and say do.
Oh, you don't. It's only flex to say doom. What do they do when they say doom?
I don't know.
They don't say.
They don't really say
They
boom.
actually
though.
really
Like,
don't
everything's
say
pretty
boom.
much a boom. The
Yeah.
boomy just kind of broken.
Not today's show.
Let's talk about some mystery teams that probably show some
Oh,
interest.
no, wait. Why can't what's the Dallas? So Dallas needs a third team.
Every team needs a third team.
Every team.
Look,
Have you
look,
not
Klay,
listened?
Klay Thompson,
That's like the
aside
first
from
thing we said.
Luka and Kyrie, their next biggest contract is Klay Thompson. He has a 3-year deal. Then PJ Washington, 2-year deal. Then Daniel Gafford, 2-year deal. Then Maxi Kleber, 2-year deal. Do you see an issue here? Everybody has multi-year deals. So if you're Miami, you're basically trading Jimmy away for a team of mid for next year. Like you're going extra mid.
I don't think they would
Yeah,
be
but
that.
why
I
do you
think,
need
I
why
think
do you
you're,
need
you're
cap space
flipping
for
these
next
guys.
season though? Who are you going after for cap space next season? Does it really matter if you're getting a guy that's on expiring versus a 2-year deal?
It's not the matter of if you're getting a guy who's on a 2-year deal. You don't want none of these guys, in my opinion.
Well, in the
Like-
way you keep these guys, you have them as expirings next season, then you can trade them as expirings next season, maybe get something back for them.
Goins, if you
I
get
guess.
if you're traded in a multi-player deal, you can
Yeah.
only get traded by yourself in the same season, right?
If you're part of a trade, yes, you would have to be
Okay,
traded by yourself.
So if you do Dallas, this is why I think this is feasible. Because if you get PJ Washington,
It's like 60 days where you can trade
Gafford,
again.
Najee Marshall, Maxi
Aggregating.
Kleber, contenders are gonna want all those fucking guys. So
Mhm.
you don't, just because these are 2-year deals does not matter to me at all. You can flip these guys real easy, get it expirings from other teams. This is why I think this would be like them consolidating a little bit
Why
some of
can't
their
they
depth to
get-
get Jimmy and go for it. This is
Why
why
can't they
I
find,
believe
like-
they're more
So
likely.
you're
than
trying to do
Houston.
like an OKC deal where you kind of got Al Horford and you traded Al Horford away to
Right,
Boston, and then
right.
whatever you get back
Red
from
I
that
Pepper
deal,
actually
then you
think
kind of
that
rinse
that-
repeat. Rinse,
Look
It
at
repeat.
makes more
KD
sense for
now.
the Heat because they can be good this year. They can be competitive. They can like.
That makes
mess
sense.
up.
No, I mean, I
You
that
can
theory
keep-
makes
you can pick
sense.
what you want.
I
But I
also
don't think it has to be an expiring player for this season. It could be a
I
guy
agree.
for next season.
Why can't like the Pelicans or Utah be a third team that kind of some of these vets get rerouted and Miami gets something back from that? That's why I think the Mavs, that's why I didn't want to write off the Mavs trade, lose, because I think that they could be useful to reroute some of those guys that are like you said, like those two-year deals are not like bad. Like, a team might want to be like, hey, let's see how this goes. Maybe I'll resign this guy type deal. I mean, even
Right.
maybe the Heat, want to
The-
keep Maxi Kleba or something.
The
you know what I
biggest
mean? Like,
deal with Dallas, in my opinion, would be that they really don't have anything as a core. Like Houston has young guys, and they have all their picks from 2027 to 31 to trade. Golden State even has picks from 25 to 28. You could build around Kuminga. You can flip him. You can flip Wiggins for some more. Peyton's expiring that you can flip as well for a contender. Dallas, the core of this trade that you would probably keep is Omax and the 2025 first, and then you're building that off flips. But I think Jimmy, I think they're way more interested than Houston. Houston doesn't make sense to me. Why they would go all in on a team that making the playoffs the first year does not make sense. That's rushing it for nothing. You save your ammo. You go for a guy in his prime. If you're Houston, you're not giving up much. They don't have enough salary to get to Jimmy without including young guys or core rotation pieces. So I don't think they're likely. In Dallas, I think they saw their window. They could go consolidate some of their stuff. Gafford's a backup big now. Lively's ready to step up. You can include some of these guys. PJ would be a loss for them, but you're upgrading. The big loss for them would be PJ and Najee, and you're upgrading to Jimmy.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense in terms of like they have the least to lose, at least between the Texas teams, just because, like you said, they're windows now.
Yeah.
So it makes sense for them to go all in. And at this point to them, fuck it. What's one more first round pick? They have literally none of them.
Exactly.
Franky, I know you wanted to do some mystery teams. I want you to get to yours, but LeBron kind of was. It seems like there might be a world where LeBron gets traded. There were some reports today. How would you feel about bringing the king home?
Next question.
Bronny,
I gotta be honest with you. I'd fucking do it. I fucking do it.
you know, G, you being a Heat fan makes so much sense because you just think with your fucking heart instead of your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just for the vibes. Just
Bro,
everything
but
for the vibes.
hold on, wait a second. I think
Kyle Lowry for your heart.
Bam, just hear me out. Bam and LeBron James.
Hear me out. No. Next.
This would be such a pat move to get the worst version of LeBron.
Chat's like G has no shit.
I mean-
Moose, what's wrong? Bring the king home.
Listen, I would love for the king to finish his career here and admit that he needs the
Do the
culture to
powder
survive.
puff.
But that being
Okay.
said,
We'll wait
the
on to
whole
retire.
MO right now is rebuild and get picks. So it really depends on what you got to trade to get LeBron, but it's kind of counterintuitive to like what I want to accomplish. So
Look at
I
LeBron
mean,
James Jr.
Just
We're
pick up the
set.
five.
What do you mean?
Pick up
We're
the
set.
fucking
We got the
Moose.
second coming of LeBron James
Wait
in
a
the same
second.
deal.
Let's say
All right.
Jimmy's gone. We're all sad, but here comes LeBron. And
Oh my
Bron.
God.
Imagine
LeBron's
LeBron
not coming
first-
without Jimmy. Guys.
Imagine
Gee,
Michael
you're gonna get
Diamante.
Gee,
to
you're gonna
say-
get so mad the first play that he doesn't run back for like a
No, it's
defensive
okay.
stop or some
It's
shit.
okay
I
because
love how G didn't want to talk about potential Jimmy trades, even though there was a report and he's making up this fucking LeBron trade.
that's just fictitious. This is having a little fun.
This
Which
is like
both
your
are never gonna happen.
this is
Both
like
are
this
not
Harrison
gonna
Barnes
happen.
trade idea.
I think LeBron, Bam, and Tyler.
Anyways.
Yeah,
we're
2
not-
years ago would have been fire.
I'm thinking second round.
I'm-
G,
I'm
You can wrap
thinking-
it up.
Oh,
Hot take.
LeBron
G.
with the 3-point.
All right.
G,
All right.
hot take.
Oh my God, LeBron and Duncan Robinson.
Whoa.
Best
no,
shooter
wait.
he's ever played with.
Wait, G, hot. Well, I don't know. Is it?
He hasn't played with Drew Smith, guys.
Ray Allen's pretty good,
110,
though.
110, 110.
All right,
Yeah,
so
thank you,
before
thank
the
you,
show,
yeah.
I asked us all to rank their preferences. Not their preferences, like who they think is most likely teams. Lou said Rockets, Warriors, mystery team, and then the Mavericks last. I have the Warriors. I think a mystery team. I think I don't. Lou, who are your mystery teams that you think?
I think Memphis personally.
Okay.
I think Memphis
I would
just
love
makes sense. They're second in the West. Some of their young guys are either out and not playing or have been pushed back by some veteran players. They do have enough salary matches to throw in there. They have more picks than Dallas. Their timeline is a mix of Houston's and Dallas. Like they have younger guys, but these younger guys are like younger vets almost. Like, Jaw, Bain, Jaren Jackson. Like they just have enough already that, and most importantly, I think if there's one Western Conference team that Jimmy fits into attitude wise and just with the way they play, it would be Memphis Grizzlies. So that's my super team.
And that's a team that we've been talking about since the draft, that they make a ton of sense. They have all their picks.
Correct.
You can build a pick package. Gigi Jackson, Vince Williams, Santi Aldamo's had a nice season. They have salaries to fill for a trade as well. I like that trade a lot. I like that potential. I love the Jimmy fit in Memphis, just attitude wise. And we saw that they just lost a year because of injury. They might take a shot to go for it 1 year if they can pull up the best offer. They're one of my mystery teams as well. I still have Golden State being the favorite. I just think if Steph and Jimmy both want it, I think it's happening. And I think that might be the deal. Moose, your pick, your teams.
Jesus Christ.
I don't care. Picks. That's it. Picks. Expiring contracts. Picks.
Ba-da-da-ba-ba-ba.
I was waiting for that.
I am sweating this. I need 2 more Giannis Antetokounmpo rebounds.
Jesus Christ. All right. G, there was a video you wanted to plug.
I just listen. I want to,
Oh,
much like Jon Stewart used to do a moment of Zen. I want a moment of Zen because Moose, I think you and I had the same reaction to this.
Can I just say that this made me so happy. You could see the relief on my boy's face. Like, are you serious? You're not talking about me? Roll it.
Out there, I'm sure you're aware of Jimmy Butler today. ESPN reported. I'm just curious.
I didn't know that.
When you get to trade speculation season, how do you guys internalize that and not let that impact? Obviously, you're familiar with that, having dealt with it for years.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I got to check my phone still this morning. I didn't know.
He's so happy.
But the vibes felt good in here today, so I don't know.
He's like, not today, not me.
The vibe felt good here today. Shit, I don't know.
And that's why he's not getting traded.
He shouldn't.
That and he's their best player this season.
No, I'm talking about Jimmy, but
That
vibes
is-
felt good in there today.
Oh, no,
Sorry, guys.
listen, he's not. My man's not getting moved. Listen, this is all going to be water under the bridge when Jalen Brunson is on his ass under the basket, getting dunked on by Bam off a pass from Jimmy. The Heat in that 4-5 matchup, moving on to the second round to face Cleveland. They embarrassed Donovan Mitchell, and then they have a date in hell with the Boston Celtics for the Eastern Conference Finals for the 4th time. That's how the season ends, baby.
Gentlemen, sweep till we bleed. This is all of us after this fucking podcast. God, go to hell, guys.